Okay, now let's tell you something about signaling by prices only. As a benchmark, we always try to analyze the complete information case. Suppose the quality is observable, then this goes back to the very simple monopoly pricing problem. Okay, you don't know what's the consumer's utility, but you know its distribution, and you are allowed to set one price. Okay, then the problem will simply be a single variable optimization problem like this. I know the firm should choose to whether serve both categories or serve only category 1. We can tell you that because we had an assumption about serving either category is generating positive profits. So only when only when a mild condition is violated, the firm will choose to serve both categories. Okay? I mean, if I serve category 1, I can make some money. If I serve category 1 and 2, I can also make money in either cases, in either categories. Please try to ask yourself, according to the model setting, when will a company choose to serve only category 1? When the quality is observable. Okay? You're going to see what's the condition for that. I mean qualitatively. Okay, qualitatively. But of course here we don't really care about that. Let's assume the company wants to serve both markets to earn as much money as possible. In that case, in either category, the firm will choose a price to solve the profit maximization problem. Given my quality of product 1, I choose my cost so that my demand times my profit margin is maximized. For product 2, it's the same thing. Okay, here this is 1 and this is delta because we are dealing with different problems. And also, here, this is denoted with CJIS, even though we are serving multiple markets, okay? Because CJIM equals alpha times CJIS. Actually, this is 1. Okay, this is 1. Okay, then we know the first best prices for either case can be simply calculated in these two closed form solutions. And then we have the first best profit, okay, like this. It's simply an outcome of plugging in this P back to the formulas. Okay, so we denote this as pi j m star. Pi j means the pi for quality, J, the type J manufacturer. M means multiple categories. Star means optimal. Okay, that's the outcome of complete information case. When the quality is not observable, the first best prices may be suboptimal. Okay, or we should say actually will be suboptimal. This is because that fewer consumers will be willing to pay those amounts. Okay, because I cannot see your quality, so I would choose to use the expected quality as my perception. Then if you are a high type manufacturer, if your quality is actually high, you will feel that you are not making that much money. Okay? Because your quality is high, but consumers think it's not so high. Then because you were charging a high price, your demand will not be high enough. You will be forced to decrease your price. Okay, to decrease your price, and eventually you will lose some money. Okay, so we now want to ask whether a company may signal its quality to solve that problem. Suppose for a while that the firm just want to serve both categories. Okay, so let's ignore the specialization decision for a while. Let's assume there is no specialization and there is only price as a signaling device. Let's try to see how a high-end company can do. In a separating equilibrium, we're going to use P1 and P2 as the prices for product 1 and product 2. Okay? T is the manufacturer's type, which may be low or high. And then M stands for multiple products, and A is just a label. Suppose we choose P1 and P2. Okay, PT1 and PT2. Then obviously this will be our outcome. Okay, please note that we are not using the expected profit. Because this is a separating equilibrium, consumers will be able to know which type is the high type. Okay? So consumers can tell what's the product quality, and then this is the formulation. If we use these two notations to denote the optimal prices for the low-end and high-end companies under separation, then these two solutions are something we want to solve for. Okay, something we want to solve for. Here we haven't solved it, but please note that these are something we want to get. On the other hand, it's possible that the outcome is a pooling equilibrium. In that case, we add a bar over the notation pi to show you that this is under a pooling equilibrium. In that case, still we have P1, P2, but now the two type manufacturers are going to offer the same prices. That's why there is no T as a superscript, and that's why consumers are using expected qualities as the perceived quality. Okay, Q bar I is the perceived quality or the expected quality. Even if that's the case, as a manufacturer, you still incur the cost according to your type. Okay, so different types of consumers, different types of manufacturers are going to get different profits under the same pooling equilibrium. And obviously, the high quality company is earning fewer because its cost is higher. Okay, so these are the profit functions under separation or pooling. And now, suppose the companies are the low type company and the high type companies are dealing with these problems, and suppose we use this and that notation to denote the optimized profit under the optimal pricing decisions in a separating equilibrium. Okay, so when you don't see a bar there, that means this is the outcome, the profit, expected profit under a separating equilibrium. Okay, now we are ready to formulate these two companies' problem. I try to set my price or prices to maximize my profits. Okay, think about the fact that you are the high quality manufacturer. Okay, you know your quality is high, but the consumers does not know that. So once you set up your prices, that low-end manufacturer can choose to mimic your price. To mimic your type. The low-end manufacturer can choose to set the same price as you, and then consumers cannot tell whether your quality is high or low. they will use the expected profit, expected cost, expected quality as the decision-making tool, and then make their decisions. So, whenever you set up your price, you face two possible outcomes. Either your costs are something that the low-end manufacturer wants to pretend to, or either your prices are something that the low-end manufacturer does not want to pretend to. Okay, let's see what's that. You, as a high-end manufacturer, you try to maximize your profit with P1 and P2. Okay, the outcome is going to be your optimal prices in a separating equilibrium. You try to set up your prices, and this function is also known by you, okay, in the previous slides. But what's interesting is now you have two constraints. The first constraint here is telling your low-end manufacturer that do not try to pretend to be me. What does that mean? The low-end manufacturer will compare the outcome of choosing the optimal separating prices with mimicking the high-end manufacturer. Okay, if the low-end company choose to use these two prices, then the equilibrium will be a separating equilibrium. His type will be revealed by the companies, by the consumers, and that's going to hurt him in some sense. But we need that particular profit turn to be better than what may happen in a pooling equilibrium. Okay? If you choose your prices in a way that the low-end manufacturer will also choose, then he will see the outcome as a pooling equilibrium. Okay? Pooling equilibrium. And he will earn his money in this way. You hope that your P1 and P2 will be not so profitable for him to pretend to be yourself. Your P1 and P2 must prevent him from mimicking yourself. Okay, that's the first constraint. But also at the same time, you need to tell yourself that doing separation is better. Okay, this is the best you may get when you do a separating equilibrium. This must be better than choosing the same prices but get mimicked by that low-end manufacturer. Okay, so the first constraint is saying your choices must make the other guy don't want the pooling equilibrium. And the second constraint is telling yourself that your choice is really good under the separating equilibrium. Okay? So obviously, in many cases, these two constraints will conflict with each other, and eventually there is no room for you to play a separating equilibrium. In that case, pooling equilibrium is simply better, and you will not see a separating equilibrium. Okay, so that depends on whether there is a separating equilibrium, depends on whether this problem is feasible. At the same time, we have the same problem for the low quality firm. The low quality firm also need to choose P1 and P2 at the same time, and if these prices are part of the equilibrium, it must satisfy the fact that it maximizes the low quality guy's profit. Also, the high type does not try to mimic to become the low type, and the low type finds it optimal not to be a pooling equilibrium. Okay, so the two companies need to solve these problems together, and at the same time, so that eventually we get an equilibrium. We're not going to really solve it because it's just too complicated, but let's try to see what's the solution. We have a following lemma that tells us what's the separating equilibrium. The separating equilibrium in this case may exist. Okay? And if a separating equilibrium exists, the high quality firm is going to distort the prices upwards in both categories. So that means for both categories, the price charged by the high quality firm is going to be higher than the price under no information symmetry. Okay? For complete information, you have a price. When you want to signal your quality, your price goes up. For a low quality firm, on the other hand, the low quality firm will simply choose the first best price under a separating equilibrium. Okay? So the existence of the separating equilibrium tells us that prices alone can signal quality. Okay, I mean alone. Okay? So this conclusion is made because we have separating equilibrium. We cannot say that it will always be the outcome, okay? Because we may have multiple equilibria. But if it exists, then we can say prices can be effective. And then we also see there are price distortions. The outcome is inefficient. And then we need to ask why there is a distortion and why it's an upward distortion. Suppose I am a high quality firm and I charge my first best prices. We can show that definitely the low quality firm will also charge the same price. Okay, if I do not increase my price, the low quality guy will definitely also choose the same price to pretend that he is also of a high quality. Okay, that's going to hurt myself. So I, as a high quality firm, I need to upward distort the prices. This is going to decrease the demands for for both companies. Okay, this is going to hurt myself and also hurt the other guy. If the other guy tries to mimic myself, he is also get hurted for the high price. What's interesting is that the low quality guy is going to be hurt more because its quality and its costs are lower. Okay? Here, you probably think that a low cost is an advantage. Okay? But that simply means when the price goes up and this guy try to mimic by choosing the same price, he is losing more profits. Okay? He is losing more profits. So as long as the prices are high enough, the low quality firm will eventually give up. It's not so good to try to mimic the high quality firm. Okay? Once I try to do that, I need to be hurt by such a high price. And eventually I would think that's not good. I should simply choose my first best prices and earn my own money. Okay? In that case, I will admit my low quality to consumers. But you can see that the low quality firm is actually doing nothing. He is still doing the same thing as in the complete information case. The one that makes some changes is the high quality firm. The high quality firm is forced to upward distort the prices and unfortunately earn few more money. Okay, earn less money. So if we think about the problem, okay, as an outsider, then actually there is only one single firm. Okay, nature chooses the type of this firm randomly. no one sees whether this guy is really good or really bad. Okay? If we are having complete information, the firm is going to set up his prices. And what we have here is whenever that piece of information disappears, then the prices may become higher. If we are, I shouldn't say that, if the nature chooses a low quality, then the prices will be the same. But if the product is actually of high quality, then the prices will go up. The prices will go up. And the high quality firm will be thinking that my quality and also my cost is high. Okay? Otherwise, I will not charge such a high price. The high-end company will try to deliver this message to you by sending you a signal, and that signal is this high price. Okay? If I have a low cost, I won't be bothered to set such a high price. Only if my cost is high, I would try to do that. Okay? So the signal will be delivered to consumers, and eventually we see a separating equilibrium. Unfortunately, information asymmetry still causes inefficiency, even with signaling, because prices become inefficiently high. Okay, the prices becomes higher. Eventually, we can if we think about this problem more, what we just mentioned here is under a separating equilibrium. Okay, under a pooling equilibrium, we may have other outcomes. In that case, those prices should go down eventually. Okay, because in a pooling equilibrium, consumers cannot tell whether this is a good guy or a bad guy, whether this product is high quality or of low quality. So the consumer will not be willing to pay a lot for a high quality product because he cannot see the quality. So eventually everyone is going to decrease their prices. decrease their prices. Anyway, we did not try to analyze the pooling equilibrium. So having that intuition is enough. Okay, so that's the end about signaling with prices only. In the next video, we talk about specialization. Thank you.